morning. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the LA County Board of Supervisors, which is being held remotely. Today is Tuesday, May 3rd, 2022. We'll take roll to confirm attendance. Everyone ready? Great. Supervisor Solis. Present. Supervisor Kuehl. Here. Supervisor Hahn. I'm here. Supervisor Barger. Here. Peter Davenport, Chief Executive Officer. Present. John Harrison, Acting County Counsel. President. And Celia Zavala, Executive Officer of the Board. Here. Great, thank you. Supervisor Barger, would you do us the honor of leading us in the pledge?
I would. Would you please stand and face the flag with your hand over your heart and repeat after me? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation. Your heart and repeat after me.
Them were available to the supervisors for their consideration, consistent with the Brown Act's requirements. We'll continue to receive written public comments throughout the meeting, which will become part of the official record. Executive Officer, please call the agenda.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. Today's agenda will begin on page 2, Sent Matters. Sent Matter 1 is a report by the Chief Executive Officer and appropriate department heads as necessary on the status of the American Rescue Plan funding and consideration of necessary action. Sent Matter 2 is a discussion and consideration of necessary actions on the public health order related to COVID-19 and the status of COVID-19 vaccine. These items will be held for discussion. On page 3, Consent Calendar, Board of Supervisors, items 3 through 29. On item 4, Supervisor Barger requests that this item be held. Also, this includes a revision as indicated on the supplemental agenda. On item 11, Supervisor Solis requests that this item be held. On items 16 and 17, Supervisor Mitchell requests that these items be held. On item 18, this includes a revision as indicated on the supplemental agenda. On item 19, this includes a revision as indicated on the supplemental agenda. Also, Supervisor Barger would like her vote to be recorded as no. On item 23, Supervisor Kuehl requests that this item be held. On item 25, Supervisor Hahn requests that this item be held. On item 26, Supervisor Hahn and Supervisor Barger request that this item be held. On page 25, Administrative Matters, items 30 through 76. On item 30, this includes a revision and the Chief Executive Officer requests that this item be removed from future agendas as indicated on the post and supplemental agendas. On page 54, this includes miscellaneous additions to the agenda, which were put more than 72 hours in advance of the meeting, as indicated on the supplemental agenda. On page 55, Ordinance for Introductions, items 77 through 80. On item 78, Supervisor Mitchell requests that this item be continued 2 weeks to May 17, 2022. On page 57, Public Hearing Item 81. This item will be held for hearing. On page 58, Special District Agenda. This is the agenda for the Los Angeles County Development Authority. On page 61, Notices of Closed Session. On items CS1 and CS5, the Acting County Counsel requests that these items be referred back to the department as indicated on the supplemental agenda. The requests for continuances and referred-backs through CS5 are before you.
Thank you, Executive Officer. And can you please read the short title of the...
I'm sorry, Supervisor, can we take a vote on that?
Move hands. I'm moving fast today. Just skip the whole paragraph. Yes. Moved by Supervisor Solis, seconded by Supervisor Hahn to approve these items, and such will be the order. Now, if you could go ahead and read us into the short title.
Thank you. For those who plan to testify before the board on the public hearing item, please prepare to be sworn in. In the testimony you may give before this board, you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Item 81 is a hearing on a resolution to increase the junior lifeguard program fee by $50 from $535 to $585 effective immediately. No departmental statement was provided and correspondence was received.
We'll now take public comments for all agenda items. Executive Officer, please read the call-in information that was also provided on the agenda and explain the speaking rules to those members of the public who will be calling in to address the board.
As indicated on the agenda, members of the public wishing to offer public comments should call 877-336-4437 and use participant code number 1366786. To repeat, please call 877-336-4437 and use participant code number 1366786. Do not call that number if you only want to listen to the meeting. To listen only, please call 877-873-8017 and follow the instructions. To members of the public calling in, when it's your turn to speak, please state your name and which agenda items you wish to speak on. We will allocate 90 minutes for public comment on all items posted on today's agenda. You will have 1 minute to speak on one agenda item or 2 minutes to speak on 2 or more agenda items. In addition, those who would like to address the board with general public comment will be provided 1 additional minute for a maximum total up to 3 minutes per person. We will continue to accept all written comments that come in during the meeting, which will become part of the record. When speaking on an agenda item, you must be on topic. Our goal is to get through as many speakers as we can. If you're not speaking on a topic, or if we cannot tell if you're speaking on an agenda item, you will get 1 warning from County Council or the chair. If you do not immediately or clearly get on topic, or if you stray off topic again, you will forfeit the rest of your time, and the chair will move to the next speaker. Please note that if you're also listening to the board meeting on a computer or speakerphone, you will need to turn down the volume on those devices as soon as the moderator calls on you. If you do not turn down the volume, there will be an echo. Moderator, may we have the first speaker, please?
Our first participant is Zek Sandoval. Please state the agenda items you'll be addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Good morning. This is Zek Sandoval with PASS. Excuse me. Regarding items 4, 26, and general public comment. Item 4 is an ambitious motion. A new county entity charged with leading region-wide homelessness response has the potential to be transformative, but only if given proper authority and support to direct county-wide action. Critically, the entity must have some authority over creating new permanent, supportive, and affordable housing, homes, and homelessness. Separating land use and development policies from homelessness goals ignores that reality. As we have emphasized to all supervisor offices, we believe the homeless initiative in the CEO's office should be elevated to this role, retaining key staff to minimize waste and equip the new entity with practiced experts. Regarding LASA, we agree that structural changes should be made to place more emphasis on their systems administrator role and away from direct service provision. If LASA staff are transitioned, it is crucial for the county to prioritize continuity of care for our neighbors who depend on their LASA case management and to work together with organized labor to ensure no LASA employee falls through the cracks. On item 26, the direction to improve co-investment with cities and COGS is a positive step, especially if those co-investments are explicitly directed towards housing construction. As the Blue Ribbon Report acknowledges, small cities and COGS need more assistance building out staff capacity and housing infrastructure. The county should strive, however, to keep the majority of its focus on regional service delivery as opposed to a city-by-city approach. People experiencing homelessness do not distinguish between city boundaries, and county-funded services must reflect that. Additionally, while we agree data sharing between providers and government agencies can and should be streamlined to speed up service delivery, we have serious concerns about broadening first-hand HMIS access to city and county governments. People experiencing homelessness are already some of the most vulnerable members of our society, and mishandled personal information heightens the risk of interpersonal violence, unfair criminalization, and political interference. Nonprofit providers already safeguard this data, let us continue in that role. On general public comment, overall, we know the homelessness response system is in dire need of reform, and we appreciate the hard work from all supervisors to make the county a leader for the region. And thinking about the structural changes ahead, we urge our county partners to trust the expertise of providers and COHI and keep ultimate focus on building more permanent housing so we can bring our neighbors home. Additionally, we strongly discourage any sort of steering Measure H funding towards LASD host teams or any other law enforcement-centric outreach teams, as has been alluded to in some press reports. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Our next participant is Anthony Arenas. Please state the agenda items you'll be addressing today and whether you will address on general public comment. You may begin.
Hi, my name is Anthony Arenas, and I'll be speaking on agenda items 23, 30, and general public comment. For agenda item 23, I thank the board for recognizing the importance of posting the Bill of Rights in juvenile facilities, but the closure of Barry J. Nydorf is long overdue. Please recognize the importance of investing in our youth, investing by decarcerating the youth population of LA County and providing supportive care that is separate from the probation department. On agenda item 30, the Sheriff's Department Financial Status Report is supposed to be a semi-annual report. While the CEO is requesting this item be removed from the Board of Supervisor agenda, I demand clarity on how this will comply with the requirement that the reports are provided to the public on a semi-annual basis at least 2 times per year. And for general public comment, just to reiterate the importance of closing men's central jail, the time is now. People are dying. In 2021 alone, 55 people died while in custody of the LA Sheriff's Department. That is more than 1 person a week dying in the LA County jails. This is unacceptable. Yes, people are dying of COVID in overcrowded conditions, while deputies who refuse to get vaccinated or wear masks come into their living spaces every day. But even if we did not count COVID deaths in 2021, it would have still been the deadliest year in LA County Jail in at least 20 years. What could the Board of Supervisors have done in 2021? Y'all could have allocated money to create the 3,600 mental health beds that the county work group they created told them to. Y'all could have started closing the most dangerous areas of Men's Central Jail. Y'all could have demanded the Sheriff's Department exercise its authority to release people to protect those in its care. But what did y'all do? You all allowed 55 people to die in the Sheriff's Department's custody. Like Supervisor Mitchell said in her own words, every day this jail remains open. You fail in your obligation to keep those who live and work there. All decarceration efforts and policies must focus on this overrepresentation of Black people within the jail population, paying special attention to Black women and Black people with mental health needs. And while Black people make up 8% of the LA population, they represent 38% of those incarcerated in LA County jails. While the jail population decreased during the COVID-19 pandemic, racial disparities worsened for Black and Latina populations. A 2020 study showed that the Black women were spending the longest days in custody and that Black people with mental health needs were released at significantly lower rates than their white counterparts. The county must address the racial injustice of incarceration and prioritize Black and Latina community members in the county's decarceration efforts. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Our next participant is Thaddeus McCormick. Please state the agenda items you'll be addressing today and whether you will address on general public comment. You may begin.
Yeah, I want to speak on item 4 and 26. I know it's been pulled, but I'm in support of those, not for general oral communications. My name's Thaddeus McCormick. I'm Lakewood City Manager, speaking on behalf of the City of Lakewood in support of items 4 and 26. I want to thank Supervisors Hahn, Barger, and Solis for their leadership in bringing these motions forward today and for their support in implementing the Blue Ribbon Commission on Homelessness recommendations. I also want to thank you for supporting the Contract Cities proposed amendments. Smaller to medium-sized cities, contract cities in particular, often don't have the resources our political cloud of larger entities. But it doesn't mean that we are not as equally committed to addressing homelessness and improving how we address issues in LA County. Allowing cities a seat at the table with the proposed county structure would go a long way to allow us to be a true partner on these critical issues. Allowing for host team funding would help multiply a proven and effective tool throughout the county. Allowing for the in-kind fund matching will help lower-income communities as well as small to medium-sized contract cities like Lakewood, who receive a significantly lower percentage of property tax and other revenues compared to larger cities, which makes it more difficult to fund robust social services like those needed to combat homelessness on our own. Again, thank you, Supervisors Hahn, Barger, and Sleece, and the rest of the board for your concern and consideration on these matters that will help us all serve those experiencing homelessness throughout the county. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Our next participant is Kent Mendoza. Please state the agenda items you'll be addressing today and whether you will address on public comment. You may begin.
Hi, good morning. My name is Kent Mendoza. I'm the manager of Advocacy and Community Organization at Dance Service and Coalition, and I'm speaking on item 23 and providing general comments. Just wanted to say that this county has worked on many alternatives to incarceration in the past several years, and as we continue to move towards a real justice reimagined in our county, we must also ensure that we set standards of how young people should be treated and be viewed in the most vulnerable places such as juvenile halls, camps, and just overall jails. By supporting this motion, I want to say thank you to Supervisor Sheila Keel and Supervisor Zev for just bringing this motion forward, because this is something that we really need in this county right now, actually. By supporting this motion, the county agrees that youth lives don't only matter, but that they also have a voice, and that they should have every avenue and opportunity to be available to them to be able to be heard. When I was incarcerated in these facilities in LA County from the age of 15 through 20, I spent many times in this county juvenile halls and camp where I didn't even know how to use my voice or how to speak for myself. It was just hard to know that I even had a voice because it was never really explained, or it wasn't something that was really broken down in a way that as a young person I will feel empowered. It's something that we need, and had I had proper understanding, orientation, and breakdown of these types of rights that I had, I would have been able to advocate for myself from the start of my journey from 15 to 20 in this facility. So this is why I believe that the board should approve and move forward with this motion. Regardless of what happens at the state level, this is something that is needed, as we have seen in our own juvenile halls and camps, and specifically Brad Jerry Night of Juvenile Hall. There's just a lot of things that need to be fixed in that place, and just in general, that's the place where young people should feel empowered and not be felt forgotten. So I just really urge this board to support the implementation of this State Bill, Assembly Bill 2417 by Assemblymember Ting. I'm also honored that my organization is a co-sponsor of this bill, so I really urge the board to move forward on another opportunity to show the world that we can do better with young people. Thanks.
Our next participant is Marissa Crider. Please state the agenda items you'll be addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Hi, my name is Marissa Crider, and I'm the Executive Director of the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments, and I'm speaking in support of Agenda Item 4 and general public comment. I wanted to thank Supervisors Barger and Solis for bringing forward this important motion to implement the recommendations of the Blue Ribbon Commission on Homelessness. We appreciate the thoughtful and comprehensive approach that the Blue Ribbon Commission took to welcome diverse perspectives and expertise. The 7 recommendations are a critical step forward to improving how we address homelessness across the county, particularly in smaller cities. The COG and the 31 member cities have worked tirelessly to develop and implement local solutions to best serve persons experiencing homelessness in their communities. The Local Solutions Fund will support local initiatives to address homelessness for these residents. The county entity will give cities the opportunity to be a part of the strategy and vision for addressing homelessness countywide. The motion will help increase collaboration across the county. It's a critical step forward that will improve our response to homelessness for all residents. We commend Bert and the Board of Supervisors on their acknowledgement of the existing challenges and development of recommendations that could better serve PEH across the county. Please vote yes on item 4. Thank you very much.
Our next participant is Zachary Warma. Please state the agenda items you will be addressing today and whether you will address on general public comment. You may begin.
Good morning, Supervisors. Zackery Warma, Associate Director of Policy at LA Family Housing, calling on items 4, 26, and general public comment. On item 26, implementing a new framework to end homelessness in Los Angeles. Thanks to your leadership, Supervisor Hahn, and that of Supervisor Barger, we have a clear, streamlined, and comprehensive vision for how we can more effectively combat homelessness in LA County. Under Executive Director Cherie Todoroff, the County Homeless Initiative undertook a thorough examination of Measure H funded strategies that was inclusive of cities, COGS, providers, and critically, those with lived expertise. The final report powerfully centers the importance of permanent housing, reducing barriers that limit one's ability to exit houselessness, and addressing the ongoing racial inequities that contribute to the growth of our unhoused population. The new framework lays out clearly defined roles rooted in best practices for all stakeholders, which if fully implemented will lead to a robust countywide response system. We urge a resounding approval of this motion and that HI be provided the necessary resources to begin immediate implementation. On item 4, the recommendations of the Blue Ribbon Commission on Homelessness, we are concerned that the motion in its current form will hinder the success of the new framework and the Commission's stated purpose to improve accountability, transparency, and inclusivity. Should the board develop a new county entity and leader, we urge you to uplift HI and Executive Director Todoroff to this role. For the Local Solutions Fund, these dollars should be available exclusively to jurisdictions willing to co-invest in programs spelled out in the new framework while being reviewed annually based on the same metrics we are developing for the rest of the system. On recommendations 3 through 5, any consolidation of LOS's governing bodies must center the voices of those most intimately connected to the crisis, those with lived expertise and service providers. Lastly, regarding data, excluding providers from recommendation 6 while granting HMIS access to city staffers not directly engaging unhoused individuals and not trained in HMIS raises both programmatic and privacy issues. Lastly, on general public comment, Chair Mitchell, your Senate Bill 1380, the state's Housing First law, remains truly historic as it enshrined effective, human-centric policies at the heart of our rehousing system. Housing First is an evidence-based approach that recognizes having a secure roof over one's head is an essential first step towards regaining personal stability. Through Housing First, individuals become housed faster, participate in supportive services at a higher rate, and most critically, are more likely to remain stably housed. LAFH was proud to testify before Senate Housing last week as a primary witness in opposition to SB 1284 because the last thing we should be pursuing are policies that make it harder for people to come off the streets. For that reason, we also wish to express our resounding opposition to the utilization of Measure H funds for local police and the Sheriff's Department. Taking limited Measure H dollars from service providers and redirecting them to law enforcement will result in reduced levels of service provision while increasing the potential for traumatization and criminalization for a population already disproportionately justice involved. This potential reallocation is also fundamentally misaligned with best practices, the county's Care First vision, and the ongoing efforts to develop unarmed crisis response systems. Thank you for your time.
Our next participant is Genevieve Cavralle. Please state the agenda items you'll be addressing today and whether you will address on general public comment. You may begin.
Yes, this is Dr. Genevieve Cavralle. I'm going to speak to item 2 for 18 and 47. On item 2, we need to reopen. Please reopen. I mean, you are losing a lot of connection with the people, with the public. And please go back to weekly meeting on item 4 about the Blue Ribbon Commission. I like a lot of their recommendations, but I think it's time that you really move on and make sure LASA leaders are not part of the solution, because they are the ones who have main management problem, and those need to be dealt with. On item 18, I understand the worry about the strike, but I think to leave carte blanche for Dr. Galley is very scary, and I hope that you don't do that. And on item 47, as usual, I've been complaining about governor. I still cannot believe what every year we pay governor to supervise further work when we have an information technology management ourselves. That should be the one that will survey server to make sure they were doing their work. To pay governor many millions every year really upsets me. Anyway, have a good week, and I hope you reopen, please. Do that soon. Take care. Love you. Bye. It's open, Paul.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Our next participant is Marcel Rodarte. Please state the agenda items you'll be addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Hi, good morning. I'm going to be addressing items 426, even though it was pulled, and general public comments this morning. Good morning, Chair Mitchell and members of the Board of Supervisors. My name is Marcel Rodarte. I'm the Executive Director for the California Contract Cities Association. As I said, I'm speaking in support of items 426 and general public comments. First, I applaud and encourage the adoption and implementation of the 7 Birch recommendations. I'd also like to encourage you all to support the 3 amendments being proposed by the California Contract Cities. Those amendments propose giving cities a seat at the table with the proposed new county structure. Our local cities deserve to be heard on these critical issues. They're also to allow for host team funding that would provide a critical need in how we interact and reach our homeless population, and providing a mechanism for the monetary or in-kind fund matching for underserved, providing a mechanism for the waiver of those in-kind or matching funds for underserved communities, which you all can define. And I want to add on a little bit. I've heard a couple comments about the host teams. Host teams are a crucial component to ensure the safety of outreach workers. These specially trained entities have been effective in positively impacting our homeless population when deployed correctly. Allowing cities to use Measure H funding for additional host teams will give those cities leverage to prevent these teams from being used for political or other purposes. I'd also like to thank the rest of the BRCH Commission and the BRCH staff especially for all the hard work they've done to get us to this point. We now know, thanks to the work of the BRCH, that our existing system is not effective as it should be, and the status quo needs to be changed. I urge your yes vote today on item 4 and encourage future amendments to item 26 when we see it come back. Thank you all. Have a great day.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Our next participant is Councilwoman Adele Andretti Badler. Please state the agenda items you'll be addressing today and whether you will address on general public comment. You may begin.
Yes, my name is Adele Andrade Stadler, and I'm Vice Mayor of the City of Alhambra and a Director of the San Gabriel Valley Housing Trust. I'm speaking on item 4 and public comment. Thank you both to Supervisors Barger and Solis for bringing forward this important motion to implement the recommendations of the Blue Ribbon Commission on homelessness. I particularly want to recognize and recommend the 7 critical recommendations. They're a critical step in improving how we address homelessness across the county, but particularly in our smaller cities. Despite our efforts, we need every opportunity, and we thank you very much. The opportunities to improve our responses, right? Thank you very much, and I urge your support on item number 4.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Our next participant is Richie Sergenko. Please state the agenda items you'll be addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Hi, yes. This is Richie Sergenko from the People's City Council. I want to call in about item 26 and general public comment. For item 26, I just want to say that, why is Measure H money going to the Sheriff's Department? It's supposed to be going towards, housing stuff, and the host team doesn't, they admit that they don't do housing, they don't have housing. So we're urging the board to pass item 26 as it is without the amendment. As it stands, it's actually something that we support. We just don't think that the amendment would allow Measure H, or that it should allow Measure H funds to go towards the Sheriff's Department. In 2017, voters passed Measure H for the explicit purpose of services for the unhoused communities and housing for unhoused residents, not for subsidizing law enforcement. The Sheriff's Department and other city police agencies already have the funding sources for their core functions, which do not include addressing homelessness. I've seen the host team in Venice, and they just showed up in full riot gear, basically. Not riot gear, but they came all tooled up to the beach to do quote-unquote outreach with unhoused folks. And what exactly were they doing there? Because they didn't offer housing, and they didn't have services. They didn't bring food, clothing, so they were just there to scare people and move them away from Venice. Allowing these dollars from Measure H to go towards law enforcement is a step in the wrong direction. Best practices and evidence-based research have demonstrated that the presence of law enforcement in homeless services is not trauma-informed and actually undermines the ability of providers to build strong relationships and households. Thank you.
Our next participant is Gwendolen Julian. Please state the agenda items you'll be addressing today and whether you will address on public comment. You may begin.
Good morning. Gwendolen Julian, Executive Director of the Probation Oversight Commission, speaking in favor of item 23 and general public comment. Thank you, Supervisors Kuhl and Solis, for including this important motion on today's agenda to support Assembly Bill 2417 and establish and implement a powerful Bill of Rights for incarcerated youth in Los Angeles County. The closure of the state's Department of Juvenile Justice presents an incredible opportunity for the county to keep young people close to their families, and for us as a county to fully implement our Care First, Jails Last vision by providing trauma-informed, rehabilitative care to young people who were previously sent to state institutions. The phased closure of DJJ began 10 months ago, and our progress has been painfully slow at the expense of now over 30 young people who are sitting at Barry J. Nydorf who would previously have gone to DJJ. Progress in selecting 2 sites and discussions about programming have moved forward, but new obstacles seem to come up every week. The health and well-being, opportunities for growth and rehabilitation, and preparation for re-entry for these youth hang in the balance, making the need to press forward urgent. This motion is a step forward by implementing a powerful Bill of Rights. If the motion passes today, the Probation Oversight Commission looks forward to ensuring that the department implements, embraces, and fully executes the Bill of Rights. We'll follow up through our inspections, site visits to the facilities, meetings with department staff and leadership, and regular conversations and surveys of youth about implementation, and then report that progress back to you and the public. Given that over 70% of the currently incarcerated youth are at Barry J. Nydorf Juvenile Hall, I agree it's right to start the implementation of the Bill of Rights there and then extend it to all facilities. I look forward to the benefits it will have on the humane and dignified treatment of youth in our facilities. Thank you for supporting item 23 in advance of that goal.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Our next participant is Veronica Lewis. Please state the agenda items you'll be addressing today and whether you will address on general public comment. You may begin.
Good morning, Veronica Lewis, the Director of Topics. I will be addressing agenda items number 4, number 26, and general public comment. Supervisors, thank you for your willingness to take bold action to make sure that we're serving vulnerable folks in an effective, strategic, and thoughtful manner, because something does need to change, and we need transformative change. And I appreciate all of your efforts. With that said, on agenda item number 4, I just want to offer up some considerations and concerns related to some of the 7 recommendations. And so for the recommendation number 1 related to the new county entity, I hope that in order for this to make sense and to actually change some of the dynamics and the pain points that we have as providers and as people experiencing homelessness, we need to make sure that the county department has meaningful authority and has the ability to really drive what our homeless service system looks like, including holding other county departments like the Department of Mental Health, Department of Health Services, and others that receive Measure H funds accountable to be in line with the framework. We also need to make sure that as the homeless initiative, I'm concerned about the murmurs I'm hearing related to what the structure may be like. It makes most sense for it to be the homeless initiative who has done a lot of the heavy lifting and just needs to be expanded in their role. some of the other pieces, I know that the county currently has a contracting equity work group because there's a recognition that it's very difficult to contract with the county. And so my only concern related to a new county entity is just all of the bureaucracy and unnecessary administrative burden that it creates. And so I'm hoping that some of the principles that are coming out of that work group will be applied as we think about this new county entity. And I'm really concerned about the smaller agencies that have become a key part of the safety net accessing Measure H funds, either as direct contractors or subcontractors, will still have access. Because what we do know is the county is always looking to completely indemnify itself, and that creates lots of burden. So I'm really hopeful that you can be thoughtful about that process. The other thing that's concerning is the county, as much as it's trying, you're not the most collaborative grant administrator. So I'm really hoping that, separate from 2-minute public comments and listening sessions, that the new county entity continues to work and be developed with LAFA to have a meaningful collaborative process and really allow for some joint decision making. And the last thing I would say that needs to be considered as you're doing the analysis of creation of this new entity is that you also need to look at the competitive bid processes. And again, all of this is just looking at some of the main barriers people have to accessing county funds. In terms of recommendation number 2, I wholeheartedly do believe that the city should have some money to address these nuances. However, it needs to be within a framework that's covered under agenda number 26. And cities need to be able to use Measure H money in line with the framework and not to criminalize homelessness. And so I do not support host teams or sheriff's department funding at all. In terms of recommendation number 4, I think it would be detrimental to collapse all those teams. 5 to 7 years ago, I was on the first ad hoc committee looking at governance, which created the COC board. And while I do think that there can be some consolidation, to have only one body where you have maybe 1 or 2 people with lived experience, maybe one provider, is not going to allow for the decisions to be made with all of the different nuances that we now have with multiple people at the table. So please consider that.
Expired. Next speaker, please.
Our next participant is Roy Humphreys. Please state the agenda items you'll be addressing today and whether you'll address on public comment. You may begin.
Roy Humphreys, agenda items 4, 25, 26, and 30. The Blue Ribbon Commission on Homelessness is 10 years in the making and reflecting governance in disarray and dismay. A congresswoman notes 1 million border crossers should be blamed on President Trump. So just blame President Trump for this. The Commission will never be realized its goals due to a profound lack of funding and failure to provide secure transient campsites for the homeless. Your proposed 25 and 26 on homeless, so when you have not got the funding for existing strategies and safe homeless camps as per the sheriff, as above, and insist on choking the courts with hookers instead of criminalizing sex, blame President Trump. The court system is in a profound state of decay. Where's the plan? Where's the money? Blame Trump. The general comment, the radar search for the public safety of Rowland Heights are still lacking, and Julian Garcia still has a job. Blame Trump. Martinez house on Otterbein has not been red tagged and condemned for demolition. Blame Trump. Joe Gadosh County Roads is taking 1 year to do a 6-month job on Otterbein street cleaning. Still employed. Blame Trump. The Works app process, and I talked to Ryan Serrano about this, does not have a number which can be called to clear problems with that app and function. Blame Trump. Homeless insurrection a la Venice Beach. Blame Trump. My YouTube channel, which has now 300 subscribers, and I encourage you to subscribe, blame me. Sanctuary anything is criminal. Blame yourselves. Posting of a Bill of Rights means nothing without enforcement. The big issue here is money. Where is the money? You're 50% underfunded. You need a budget of $60 billion.
Our next participant is Alexia Seaman. Please state the agenda items you'll be addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Hello, my name is Alexia Seaman, and I'm with the Anti-Recidivism Coalition. I'm speaking in full support of agenda item number 23, safeguarding the rights of incarcerated youth. As someone who works closely with directed impacted youth, I know that most of them are not aware of their rights. Youth who are incarcerated in LA County deserve to have the rights acknowledged and communicated to them with language that young people can understand, as well as rights that are enforced. Supporting this motion and this goal will ensure that youth are living in a safe, healthy, and clean environment, working towards positive youth development and healing. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Our next participant is Richard Corral. Please state the agenda items you will be addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
My name is Richard Corral, and I'm the Homeless Service Coordinator for the City of South El Monte. I'm speaking on agenda item 426 and general public comment. Thank you, Supervisors Barger and Solis, for bringing forward this important motion to implement the recommendations of the Blue Ribbon Commission on Homelessness. The Birch listened to over 280 stakeholders to improve how the county governs its homeless services system, and the 7 recommendations significantly improve how we address homelessness across the county, particularly in smaller cities like South El Monte. Most importantly, the recommendations give cities outside the city of Los Angeles a seat at the table to more effectively impact homelessness locally. The city of South El Monte has been addressing homelessness in innovative ways through a regional collaboration with El Monte and Baldwin Park called the Mid-Valley Collaborative on Homelessness, prevention and diversion programs, local housing continuum that includes emergency housing provided at local motels, bridge housing, and increasingly permanent housing solutions. However, we need resources to continue and expand this important and impactful work through improved partnership with the county. To this end, the proposed Local Solutions Fund is essential to sustain our local efforts, and therefore I'd like to propose the following enhancements to the Local Solutions Fund. First, small cities like South El Monte would like to utilize Measure H funds to fund the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Homeless Outreach Services Team, like HOST. We currently do contract for Sheriff Services, as well as cities with their own police departments that actively partner with the HOST teams would like to utilize Measure H funds to continue this work. Clearly outline how disadvantaged communities will be able to benefit from the fund and participate in matching contributions programs. By defining a process that waives disadvantaged communities' matching contribution, diversity, equity, inclusion will be at the forefront of the program's mission and design. Also, the motion proposed to increase collaboration across the county by providing cities the opportunity to be part of the strategy and vision for addressing homeless countywide. Therefore, let's increase city leadership representation across all committees mentioned in the Birch's recommendation, including the single body that will be consolidating the LASA Commission, Continuum of Care Board, CS Policy Council, as well as the executive level action team. Item number 4 is a critical step forward that will improve our response to homelessness for all residents in the county, and thank you for your leadership. Regarding item number 26, implementing the new framework to end homelessness in Los Angeles County, we're supporting the implementing a new framework to end homelessness, championed by Supervisors Hahn and Barger. The County Homeless Initiative, under the Executive Director Todorov, conducting an exhaustive process, engaging a variety of stakeholders to help streamline the county process to get more people off the streets and into housing. The proposed framework offers a powerful regional vision, including cities, COGS, faith-based organizations, etc., as well as government, to determine how we can collectively better support tens of thousands of Angelinos who are without stable housing today. In discussions about the homeless rehousing system, community members emphasize the need for more interim and permanent housing, which I think is essential to the work that we're doing locally. Once this item returns for consideration, I encourage additional amendments, and item number 26 is a critical moving forward that will improve our response. Thank you.
Time has expired. Next speaker, please.
Our next participant is Sophia Crystal. Please state the agenda items you'll be addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Good morning. My name is Sophia Crystal. I'm speaking on item 23. Good morning. I'm a youth advocate with the Anti-Recidivism Coalition, and as a youth who is incarcerated from the ages of 14 to 24, I know firsthand how important it is for youth to have rights as well as being informed of exactly what they are. Being incarcerated at a young age is already scary and traumatizing enough, not to mention the trauma the youth have experienced before incarceration. Making sure the youth have rights as well as knowing what they are allows them to feel safe and secure in such an unfamiliar and damaging environment. Ensuring these youth know what should or shouldn't take place, what they are allowed, and what they can do if their needs aren't met gives them a voice and a chance to defend themselves. It's extremely important and makes a huge difference to our youth and for our youth to have rights in such settings. We want to make sure our youth are safe and taken care of at all times, and then having rights only strengthens and makes that want and need for them a reality. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Our next participant is Hokan Williams. Please state the agenda items you'll be addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Good morning, Supervisors. My name is Hokan Williams, speaking in support of agenda item 24 on the Santa Susana Field Lab. The Santa Susana cleanup was supposed to be done by 2017, still has not even really begun, and the state now seems poised to allow the polluters to break out of the cleanup agreements that they signed. I very much appreciate the county's unwavering commitment to the Santa Susana cleanup. I ask that you vote to approve the resolution on the Santa Susana Field Lab. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Participant is Joseph Lyons. Please state the agenda items you'll be addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Yes, my name is Joseph Lyons. I am speaking to items 4, 26, and open public comment. And I want to begin by thanking Supervisors Solis and Barger, my two favorite supervisors, for remaining faithful to the local implementation and projects, and for their, again, support for moving the recommendations of the commission forward. Correcting the dysfunctional and ambiguous relationships that exist among the numerous entities and stakeholders named in the Blue Ribbon Commission on Homelessness and the attendant lack of accountability this causes are both critical to the successful implementation of the recommendations contained in the Commission's report. And we are all aware of the urgency associated with the restructuring and repurposing efforts and the need to expedite achieving an objective whenever possible. To that end, I offer the following for your consideration and action at today's meeting. Firstly, bring into alignment with the 2017 HUD regulations losses role as the LA Continuum of Care's collaborative affiliate and the LA Continuum of Care and its board. Being recognized as the governing and oversight entity with the responsibility to manage and administer HUD's funded programs and in collaboration with its designated collaborative affiliate, LASA, which, through its commission, has assumed a quasi-governing role over its own and other independent entities, including the Continuum of Care Board. Doing so would establish the right and legal relationship among the four entities that are the primary source of confusion associated with the governance and accountability for HUD-funded programs, and by extension would provide a framework in which to establish the right and legal relationships among the entities and stakeholders currently recognized as participants in the Homeless Initiative, as well as those that are expecting to be included based on the recommendations implementation. Secondly, name the Homeless Initiative as the entity to administer and manage the remainder of Measure H tax revenues and all the grants and awards designated to address homelessness at the county-wide level, using county staff and resources and the procurement of the necessary ancillary and specialized technical assistance from LASA as appropriate. Doing so would establish the right and legal control over the use of the county homeless funds and the accountability for the programs and services provided with these funds, including adding local solutions as a priority addition to the implementation of Measure H strategies. And with regards to the local solutions, I think that the reference to requiring recipients to provide matching funds is not only demeaning and exclusionary to those recipients that would be awarded funding, presumably based on the merits of the project and its contribution to ending and preventing homelessness locally. Matching funds requirements have been the Achilles heel of program expansion into local.
Our next participant is Sara Garfunkel. Please state the agenda items you'll be addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
I'm addressing item number 4 on general comment.
Chair Mitchell and Supervisors, good morning. Again, my name is Sara Garfunkel, and I am calling on behalf of VICA, the Valley Industry and Commerce Association. We are in support of implementing the Blue Ribbon Commission on Homelessness's recommendations motions. Our county needs the Blue Ribbon Commission's recommendations, specifically that the county strengthen its involvement in cities and councils of government by establishing multi-year local solutions fund for jurisdictions that commit to providing in-kind or matching contributions for the development of service programs or housing. Additionally, recommendations that address revamping homeless services governance are essential. Throughout our homeless services offerings, we are lacking leadership and accountability. We strongly support this motion and believe that the 7 recommendations named within it will result in significantly improving the efficiency and efficacy of helping people experiencing homelessness. Our local taxpayers deserve to see their dollars at work in their own communities. We urge you to support this motion, and thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Our next participant is Jose Osuna. Please state the agenda items you'll be addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
I'll be addressing item number 26 and general public comment. First of all, I am the Housing Justice Manager for Brilliant Corners, one of the county's strongest housing partners. I'm also the 4th District appointee for the Public Safety Realignment Team. I want to remind the board that law enforcement does not equal housing services. Although we support item number 26, we do not support the amendments that would allow funding to go to any law enforcement agency. We cannot continue to criminalize our unhoused community members, and that is what law enforcement does when they engage our unhoused community members. That is their job, to enforce laws, not to provide housing or social services. Let's remember that. I have not heard any service providers or any unhoused community members express any kind of interest in law enforcement being funded by Measure H funding. I voted for Measure H with the idea that this would fund housing services, not continue to build up the war chest for law enforcement agencies to continue to fund their war on our unhoused community members. I am in favor of local solutions just as long as they are not law enforcement-based solutions to deal with the crisis around those that are unhoused. I urge the board to remove the amendments that would allow funding to go to any law enforcement agencies. I urge the supervisor from the district that I live in, Supervisor Hahn, I urge you to pull the amendments that would allow law enforcement to be funded by Measure H funding. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Our next participant is Jennie Mack. Please state the agenda items you will be addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Hi, I am addressing agenda item number 24 and general comments. First, I'd like to thank Chul and Barger for proposing this motion to ensure the complete cleanup of the San Jose Field Lab, honoring the 2007 and 2010 agreement. Your legacy championing this cause is greatly appreciated by our community. With some of the cleanup's strongest advocates soon leaving office, we must act quickly and aggressively to bring the responsible parties into compliance, especially as we expect the EIR to be finalized this summer. We look forward to working in cooperation with the LA City Attorney and Ventura County Council and NGOs to take legal action, and we'll take all of these entities working together in a timely manner to hold the responsible parties to their obligations at the site. The concerns, as you know, of the responsible parties are strictly financial. They intend to avoid investing in a comprehensive cleanup by any and all means necessary. We hope that as a united front, we can show them that you intend to protect the health of our communities with the same resolve. We hope that you approve the motion of agenda item 24. Many families like mine that can't be here today because of work and other obligations want to thank you for taking action to ensure that this contamination at the is finally remediated, and that the cultural resources preserved and protected, and the land and habitat is restored for future generations. But thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Our next participant is Sharon Sand. Please state the agenda items you'll be addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Hello, this is Sharon Sand from Trust for Public Land, speaking on item 74A and general comment. We want to thank Supervisor Solis and her leadership for introducing the motion to support Governor Newsom's 30 by 30 initiative. This proposal will help close the nature gap that exists in California, especially in LA County. We also want to applaud the work initiated by LA County Parks for the regional and rural park needs assessment to give LA a leg up in competing for funds, and we want to thank LA County Parks for their vision and diligence in preparing for this. We ask for a unanimous vote in support of this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Our next participant is Roxanne Hodges. Please state the agenda items you'll be addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Hi, my name is Roxanne Hodges, and I'll be addressing set items 2 and 9, a little bit of 19, and general public comment. I just want to make it very clear that what's been happening to our children and on public transportation under the dictatorship, really, of Barbara Ferrer is absolutely unconscionable. She needs to be questioned directly about why she is not aligning with the state. She recently said in a presentation she made to USC's School of Public Health that it's very complicated telling people the truth, and I think we need to have her address that. In addition, it's a bit spurious to proclaim May Mental Health Month when almost all of the steps she recommended and the board agreed to harmed our children's mental health and that of young people in Los Angeles County egregiously. Forced masking, forced vaccination, and shutting them out of school for over a year in public and private school at the behest of public sector unions was actually a criminal activity. In addition, just a quick note, we should not support housing first model as it's been shown to be an absolute disaster everywhere it's been tried. A note about the budget is that we definitely do not need 4 new departments unless we're going to eliminate some of the duplication of departments we already have. And so when we're looking at our proposed budget for the future, I want to point out that we have more than enough money to have clean streets and safe streets, and we should make an effort to at least pretend we're spending money on public services. Lastly, it's wonderful that there are new and open offices for the Board of Supervisors, and I can't wait to join you as I'm running in the 3rd District. But open meetings and the consent of the governed and the will of the people mean that you should be accessible to all. COVID is endemic, not pandemic, and those restrictions no longer count. Please allow the people of Los Angeles to address their concerns to you. Hope you all have a wonderful day and look forward to meeting you all very soon. You can find me at superroxanne.com.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Our next participant is Doug Forbes. Please state the agenda items you're addressing today and whether you will address on general public comment. You may begin.
My name is Doug Forbes. I'm addressing item 10 in general comment. I'm the founder and president of the Meow Meow Foundation based here in Los Angeles County. Our mission is to make camps and aquatics safe for children nationwide. I'm pleased that the County of Los Angeles would introduce this proclamation in honor of my daughter Roxy, who was killed by preventable drowning at an Altadena summer camp, and in support of millions of children who deserve long overdue protections that will help eliminate the number 1 injury-related cause of death for children 1 to 4 and number 2 for children 5 to 14. I wish to thank Supervisors Solis and Barger for introducing this proclamation and our forthcoming drowning prevention and camp safety motions. I want to make sure, however, that all of us understand how proclamations and ordinances are only as worthy as their real-life application to protect hardworking families throughout this mighty county of ours. Last year, we successfully persuaded the state to adopt Roxy's Wish Drowning Prevention Week for Children as a perennial resolution, and we already see its impact. We've introduced the same in other states. We are here to do the work that will protect millions of young lives right here in our county. I want to thank you and wish you an early happy Mother's Day.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Our next participant is Eric Previn. Please state the agenda items you'll be addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Thank you. I'll address on all items in a general public comment. How much time do I get? Your Honor, how much time do I get?
3 minutes. Please begin.
3 total. 2 on the items and 1 on general. Okay, fair enough. Let's go along with that. Let's try to be appropriate. I want to just call out the Santa Susana callers. I am very concerned about this situation as well. What we've got is toxic matter all over the place. Not all over the place, but in that area. And Rocketdyne and these big corporations are responsible, and we're supposed to clean it up. Haven't cleaned it up. The federal government was supposed to help clean it up. And then Andrea Orton, the former LA County Council, who has been a dogged and veteran fighter, took it all the way up to a high court, and they rejected her and said, no, unfortunately, we will not be able to force the federal government to do it right. So then Mike Fuhr and Paul Krikorian and Greg Smith of Waste Management decided, let's spend $600 and something thousand of city money, because the city wants to help the county and the county wants to help the city sometimes when they're not going to battle over the homeless crisis, for example. And here, a great firm by the name of Myers, Nave, Reback, and Silver were brought in to eat up the $650,000 chasing down the lane that was not the right avenue, apparently. Now, we don't want Greg Smith's guys and all the trucks. He's a lobbyist and council member who filled in for Mitch Englander, the FBI indictee, before John Lee, who seems to be glancing right past getting indicted, but it's unclear, to get the job to move the stuff. We don't even know that moving the stuff is the right way to handle it. Isn't there a way to, suppress it through some clever way? Because turning it into a transport mission is a terrible, terrible idea. And I know that the county and the board and the people who live in and around the area don't want that. But we don't want our children exposed to this toxic stuff for very long any longer. It's intolerable. It is intolerable. And, we've got a lot of lawyers who are going to make a lot of, money, but we've got to take care of the task at hand. That seems to be one of our big problems at Board of Supervisors is we don't mind endless litigation, and then we bury the litigation report. Why hasn't that been brought forward, by the way? How come, instead of the new litigation report, we've got the county council stepping off, and we've got a new county council in there, Dawn Harrison, who's not what I would describe as new. She's one of the old veteran insiders, and no disrespect to her, if she would put the Covington and Burling records on the table, and we can't have Kubata and Shulman also chasing the sheriff if they're being the honest brokers trying to look at the county's inside fraud. And no disrespect to Mr. Gabay and the CEO's office in real estate, but what a horrifying reveal that exactly what we fear, that people are doing dirty and taking payments here and there, which is what they showed with that guy Shepos. This is why we really need to have independent look at the county by transparency. You need to show all the legal who's looking at burying and defending. Thank you.
Our next participant is Jeana Thornburg. Please state the agenda items you'll be addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Good morning. This is Jeana Thornburg of Coalition for Valley Neighborhoods. I'm speaking only on agenda item number 24. The Santa Susana Field Lab should have been cleaned up years ago, but various private, federal, and state agencies have failed the communities adjacent and near the lab site. The radiologic and chemical contamination at the SSFL have led to countless cases of cancer, including in children. I urge the supervisors to support agenda item number 24 to ensure comprehensive cleanup and remediation of the SSFL contamination to protect public health. Enforcement of a cleanup conforming to the 2007 and 2010 agreements can be done safely. The technology, knowledge, and skill exist. We need the political support. Thank you, Supervisors Kuehl and Barger, for placing this item on the agenda.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Our next participant is Michael Webb. Please state the agenda items you'll be addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Thank you. I'll be speaking in favor of item 25 in general public comment. I'd like to thank Supervisor Hahn and Chair Mitchell for bringing forward this motion in support of Assembly Member Mirasucci's Bill AB 2220, which would create a pilot program for homeless courts throughout the state. It's based on the success that we've had in Redondo, in San Diego, in Sacramento. It would set up a statewide pilot program administered by the Judicial Council and would provide grant funding for eligible programs. Our outdoor homeless court brings the justice system out of the courthouse and into the community in a non-threatening, less intimidating way. It's entirely voluntary. It's free plea. Typically, as prosecutors, we would want a plea first, so that there'd be some sort of punishment hanging over their head. We deliberately set this up as to not have that because we wanted to provide resources to help people who are motivated in obtaining permanent housing. And so we bring all the resources that could be needed, additional mental health and addiction counseling services, all the services to become document-ready, job placement services, and of course, we provide transitional housing and permanent supportive housing. This bill would set up a statewide program that would fund homeless courts that provide these necessary services while still allowing flexibility for local jurisdictions to address their particular needs. So I thank you very much, and I urge support of item number 25.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Our next participant is Sean Gage. Please state the agenda items you'll be addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Hello, I'll be addressing item 23 for general public comment. My name is Sean Gage. I'm with the Anti-Recidivism Coalition, Hope and Redemption Team. I'm in support of item 23, the Youth Rights Bill. Honestly, when I was in juvenile hall, I had no idea that I had any rights. Therefore, I had no way of advocating for myself or that there was someone even really that I could address my issue with. With this youth rights bill, our youth would have access to their rights in one place and in understandable language. I believe that when they know their rights, they know their voice matters, and they have an advocate for their voice, it gives them accountability, paving the way for successful rehabilitation and successful reentry to our society. I thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Our next participant is Sylvia Burleson Brown. Please state the agenda items you'll be addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Hello, this is Sylvia, and I'm addressing on general public comment. I've been going to Catherine Barger's office because I'm in her district, but this reflects all Los Angeles County. I really am asking for Los Angeles County and you as our leaders in your position to stop all what's going on in county employment, all the authoritative oppression, social, economic, political, legal culture, and institutional oppression, and also that they allow for social oppression that goes on in this office. I tried to resign out of duress yesterday and return my equipment, and it was horrible how I was treated over in that Lancaster DPSS office where I used to work there when I came to return my equipment. Then I went into a panic attack. They didn't try to do no wellness or anything. Then I tried to call them on the way home, putting myself and my grandchildren, because they went to me to help return that office to the district office. Yes, I transferred to Northridge, but they said we will get accommodated. And the employees are not getting accommodated. So I'm speaking out on the behalf of the employees that they're not getting accommodated. It's a two-way contract, but they only fire people.
Our next participant is William Harrison. Please state the agenda items you'll be addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
I'll be addressing general public comment. My name is William Harrison. I live in District 1. I spoke to the council on 4/19 regarding the issue with my school districts. And as I finish my study, I want to go over this with you. In the Walnut Valley Unified School District, 10 of the 15 schools have no blacks on staff at all. That's from the principal to the maintenance. 3 of their 15 schools have 2 blacks on staff. The district office has no one black on staff. Rowland Unified School District has 9 of their 19 schools have no blacks on staff. Again, from the principal to the maintenance. 7 of the 19 have 2 on staff. District office, nobody black on staff. Now, who are these black kids role models when they go to school? I've been fighting this battle for a few years, so I'm coming to the county supervisors. I know that you cannot make the school districts do anything about this, but I would hope that you would look into it to see if I'm right or not. I do hope that I'm wrong, but after doing my study, I'm positive I'm right in a very sad situation where in Southern California, County of Los Angeles, that we have numbers like this, schools with absolutely nobody black on staff, no black teacher, no black librarian, no black principal, vice principal, etc.
Yep, the next speaker, please.
Next speaker, please.
Next speaker, please. Yes, the next speaker will be Michael Vilega. Please state the agenda items you'll be addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Good morning. Michael Villegas, Community Preservation Manager and Homelessness Liaison for the City of Santa Cruz on the Community Task Force on Homelessness, and I will be speaking on item 4. On behalf of the City of Santa Cruz, I'd like to express support for item 4 and urge you to support the item. Following an extensive series of meetings, presentations, interviews, and listening sessions with stakeholders, subject matter experts, and community members over a 6-month period, the BRCH has developed a comprehensive set of recommendations that will significantly enhance transparency, inclusiveness, and accountability of Measure H funding and homelessness services. We are appreciative of the board's updated motion to increase representation for cities across the committees mentioned in the BRCH's recommendations, and to allow for Measure H funding to be used for local initiatives, including the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Host Team. We'd also wanted to express our appreciation for Supervisors Barger and Solis for bringing these recommendations forward, and the BRCH's commissioners and staff who worked tirelessly the past 6 months to develop these recommendations and framework. Thank you for your consideration on this matter.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Our next participant is Elliot Katz. Please state the agenda items you'll be addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Yeah, I'm just going to address item 26. Which one of you guys are going to get up and tell your constituents that you lied to us in 2017 when you told us Measure H money was going to go to services for the homeless? And, you know, were you lying about that then and knew all along that a lot of this money was going to go to law enforcement? You know, so you guys look terrible. You're making LA look bad, you know, and I just don't understand what's going on with you guys. It's a bad look. Your images are absolutely ruined for all of this shit.
Thank you. May we have the next speaker, please?
Our next participant is Donald Harland. Please state the agenda items you'll be addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Okay. Hello, this is Donald. I'd like to comment on consent calendar number 4. General agenda items number 24, 31, 41, 55. And I need know if the special district agenda will get its own comment period and a general public comment?
To clarify,
okay.
this is all general public comment.
Thank you. Agenda item number 4, thank you. I'll continue. Just a recommendation to hire people who do due diligence on properties, that don't just try to steal properties, say, hey, that's vacant land, let's try and claim that, and hire people that are criminals for consent calendar agenda item number 4. Agenda item number 24, no. Definitely, Santa Susana Field Lab cleanup has already been completed for the parts that was due for that. People have polluted more areas. You shouldn't try and stick defense companies illegally with cleanups for stuff, people that commit crimes there and do stuff like the supervisor members who recommended this agenda item. West Los Angeles Courthouse, agenda item number 31, 1633 Purdue Avenue. It says 2010, there's an unverified parcel sale, and that you guys are trying to do a lease agreement. You guys want to do some development or something? Yeah, once you secure that deal, make sure that I think what they did there is they modified the accessory report. Those modified accessory reports for these properties I'm listing that are illegal. They tried to pay somebody for these properties that it didn't belong to, so definitely they should continue development with government money on these properties. Agenda item number 41, purchase agreement for default tax properties. This is a tax default scheme. They create a false accessory report trying to claim the property. They default taxes. I mean, they're trying to claim this property over $24,000 or $6,000. I'm not even sure what those guys are up to. And then they get somebody crooked in the government to sell it to them. Just agenda item number 41, no. Just go over that one a little more. Agenda item number 55, Fort Cedars Hiking Trail Project. There's questionable exchanges 3 times of the county assessor reports around 2005 and 2007. I would really look at that. I can't imagine why they'd be moving that back and forth, handing it back and forth. There's something going on over there, probably. I don't know if bringing people to those hills over there is going to help anything. Probably that will create a problem. Probably no on number 555. People are going to hike over there or whatever, but you shouldn't try and develop anything over there or do anything like that. You're just enabling those people over there for more crime. Special District Agenda 1D and CS5. I think that they probably should do more due diligence on those. You know, these real estate companies in there, there's 5 of them. There's contracts for them to do contracts. I would really take a look at these companies. What's the owner of it? Who's running it at? Property? Thank you for your time.
Our next participant is Jean Plum. Please state the agenda items you'll be addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Hello, Jean Plum in Chatsworth, owner of Legal Equestrian Property Zones for Horsekeeping. I will be talking on general comment only. I want to address land at strides between Supervisor Barger and Supervisor Kuehl. At this time, it is the 4 fabulous county parks that were secured by Supervisor Antonovich and Supervisor Barger that front Browns Canyon. Their only access is from Browns Canyon Road. That is the Antonovich Park, Hidden Creeks Park, the Quarry Project, and the Browns Canyon Park, offering our area in the Northwest Valley thousands of acres of riding, hiking, and bicycling land, untouched and unmarred by civilization. My question is, Supervisor Barger, your $3 million commitment to construct horse facilities, minimal at best, but still appreciated, in Browns Canyon Equestrian Park, have not been seen. The land has been cleared, and this park is a central point between the Hidden Creeks Trails Project, which is almost complete, and the vast Porter Ranch Trails Project. Where is our equestrian park?
Our next participant is Daniel Hirsch. Please state the agenda items you'll be addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
My name is Dan Hirsch from the Committee to Bridge the Gap. I'm speaking in strong support of item 24, the Santa Susana Field Lab cleanup, plus a general public comment. In 1979, while teaching at UCLA, students working with me uncovered documents showing that a partial nuclear meltdown had occurred at Santa Susana that had been kept secret for decades. I've worked over 42 years since then to get the site cleaned up from that accident and numerous other radioactive and toxic chemical releases. In 2007 and 2010, legally binding agreements were signed requiring full cleanup by 2017. But we're in 2022, and the required soil cleanup has not even begun. This resolution would add carrying out those agreements to the county, state, and federal legislative agendas and direct county council to explore cooperative legal action with LA City and Ventura County, as well as non-governmental organizations, to finally get the site fully cleaned up as promised. It is critical to the health of the 750,000 people who live near the site, and I support its adoption. Now a general public comment and a little personal. I want to thank Supervisors Barger and Kuehl for their long work together on this issue. And I particularly want to take this opportunity to express my gratitude to Supervisor Kuehl, who has worked persistently on it for 20 years since she was in the state legislature. I've known her since she was an assistant dean at UCLA, and I cannot put into words the appreciation and admiration we have for her decades of committed and effective work in the public interest. Thank you, Sheila.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
As a reminder, to address the board, if you have not already done so, please press 1 then 0 at this time. Do not press 1 then 0 a second time, or you'll be removed from queue. Our next participant
now
is
hear the Spanish interpretation of the reminder.
Para dirigirse a la supervisora, si aún no lo ha hecho, presione 1 y luego 0 en este momento. No presione 1 y 0 por segunda vez o será eliminado de la fila. Gracias.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Our next participant is Harry Samerdijan. Please state the agenda items you'll be addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Good morning, Honorable Supervisors. My name is Harry Samerdijan, and I'm a Senior Manager with the Los Angeles Area Chamber of Commerce. I'd like to speak on item number 4, please. The LA Chamber fully supports the recommendations presented in the Blue Ribbon Commission governance report adopted on March 30th, 2022. This important report entails 7 recommendations that reflect the urgency for refined governance models that can deliver improved and accelerated results incorporating the diverse needs of the region, its 88 cities, and the unincorporated areas of the county. This report was generated as a result of the growing humanitarian crisis of homelessness in our county and the need to reform the existing system. The report is the product of comprehensive testimony received over the past 6 months. Stakeholders, including the LA Chamber's President and CEO, Maria Salinas, provided important feedback to the Commission to better address the homelessness crisis. We commend the members of the Commission for their hard work and strongly encourage the Board of Supervisors to implement these recommendations. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Our next participant is Ann Miskey. Please state the agenda items you'll be addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Good morning. I'm Ann Miskey, CEO of Union Station Homeless Services. I'm speaking on agenda items 4 and 26 in general public comment. I would like to begin by thanking the Board of Supervisors for their ongoing commitment to the issue of homelessness. As someone who has worked for many years on this issue nationally and locally in both LA City and LA County, I am somewhat concerned by this motion. While there can be no doubt that our system is far from perfect and that there continue to be many challenges, we've worked hard over the past few years to build a system that has effectively and permanently housed tens of thousands of people in spite of the many challenges. The fact that we've not solved homelessness is not because of failings from our homeless system or approach, but is in fact because of the myriad of deep-seated issues that continue to go undressed in our communities: housing, low wages, and racial inequity. There is no doubt that there are inefficiencies in the system, and the Blue Ribbon Commission has addressed some of these in ways which will be helpful. But I am concerned that we may also do away with the progress we have made in building evidence-based and effective practices that focus on ending homelessness for people rather than sweeping them off the streets or criminalizing them. And while we all agree with the importance of working in partnership with the local communities and support their need for increased funding, we also must not move away from a regional approach and must continue to provide resources based on need. I'm also strongly opposed to Agenda Item 26, to remove funding from organizations who deeply understand and practice evidence-based practices which end homelessness. To fund law enforcement, which already receives county funding, is misguided and will not be effective. We work closely with the police as valued partners, but their purpose is different, and using them to end homelessness is not effective. It will take funding from where it is needed and return us to a system where those experiencing homelessness will be increasingly criminalized without providing access to housing or services. We all know what it will take to end homelessness, which is to stop the inflow, allow and create affordable housing in every community, and provide the services to get and keep people housed. We thank you again for your attention to this matter.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Our next participant is George Pancake. Please state the agenda items you'll be addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Yes, good morning, Supervisors. My name is Mr. Pancake. I'm with LA Can. I'm speaking on the agenda item, general comment, 26. Asking the Supervisors to fully reject the amendment to Measure H. I'm in support of the original Measure H for what it was intended to divest in incarceration, more jails, and policing, and invest in housing, the homeless, and homeless services. And I'm going to say it like this: law enforcement definitely cannot be trusted in light of the recent disclosed unacceptable practices. And so I'm asking the Supervisors to fully reject any amendment to Measure H. And I have a little song. Venom Weber came to Venice riding on his pony. He said he was there to house the folks, but the help is image only. Venom Weber, you must go. Venom Weber, you must go. Venom Weber, you must go. So ride up on your pony. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Our next participant is Paul Rudenstein. Please state the agenda items you'll be addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment.
Good morning, members of the board. I'm Paul Rubenstein, Vice President of External Affairs at St. Joseph Center. I'll be speaking to items 4, 26, and general public comment. St. Joseph Center appreciates the time and the dedication of the Blue Ribbon Commission on Homelessness. We also have concerns with the next steps for the Commission's recommendations. Our concerns are around timeline and implementation. For recommendation number 1, a new county entity, we know that developing an entirely new office or department would require multiple significant shifts and a major allocation of time and resources, all while we are in the middle of a crisis. We urge you to not discard the leadership we have at hand in the Office of the Homeless Initiative, because now is not the time to reinvent the wheel. In recommendation number 2, local solutions. We're deeply concerned about the impact of the Local Solutions Fund on the efficacy of our overall efforts. It is vitally important that the permitted uses of this funding align with the county homelessness strategies. We must also take care to ensure that the Local Solutions Fund does not result in duplicative contracting processes or create additional administrative burdens for service providers that will inevitably take away from direct services. Additionally, it is critical that the county both measure and illustrate for all cities where Measure H resources are currently being deployed. We must establish this factual baseline to ensure that future shifts in funding are actually grounded in equity and need. On recommendation number 6, data and metrics. As the Commission's report made clear, our systems must improve access for data for providers, the government, and the public. However, expanding access to data is distinct from personal access
access to personal information, which is confidential and protected. Only members of a person's care team needs or should have access to their personal information. While the Blue Ribbon Commission's recommendations suggest major structural changes, the motion to implement a new framework to end homelessness in Los Angeles offers us a way forward now. We urge the board to adopt language to prioritize this path and ensure the progress it offers is not impeded by the inevitably slower process of implementing the Blue Ribbon Commission's recommendations. Finally, I would like to address the question of allocating Measure H funds for law enforcement. Our successful interventions result in housing placements, not simply the clearing spaces. LA County Sheriff host teams cannot house people or retain them in housing. Please do not divert any of this unique resource to provide additional funding to law enforcement agencies, which are already among the most well-funded public entities. I thank you for your time this morning and for your thoughtful consideration of these vital issues.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Our next participant is Greg Thompson. Please state the agenda items you'll be addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Good morning, Honorable Supervisors. My name is Greg Thompson. I'm the Executive Director of the Public Authority. We run the IHSS Register for LA County. I'll be speaking on item number 29, item number 33, and general comment. For item number 29, I encourage you and fully support taking a look at the Commission on Disabilities and looking at the role of the membership and their duties. I think IHSS and others living with disabilities is critically important, and that commission has been doing an excellent job, and I hope that you will appoint some people to represent IHSS. Item 39, we are extremely excited about the new LA County Department on Disability and Community Services. And again, we are hoping that this new department will work in collaboration with the Department of Public Social Services and PASC so that we can develop a stronger and more effective registry. I'd also like to ask the board if they would consider writing a letter in support of Assembly Member Carla's budget request to restore funding for the IHSS Public Authority governing boards and advisory commissions. It's a $26 million state investment, which would be matched by the federal government and should be no cost to LA County. This is a critical advisory group that provides information to the central departments on how IHSS is being run in LA County. And I would also consider the board supporting an increase to the state allocation for public authorities. Again, this is a state and federal funded program and should be no additional cost to the county. Thank you very much for the great work you're doing.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Our next participant is Camilo Loxi. Please state the agenda items you'll be addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Hello, my name is Camilo. I'll be addressing item 26. I voted for Measure H with zero forewarning or intent that elected officials or city managers would use that, would try to use that money for the sheriff. The host program has not been proven to be effective. It's been proven to be a political tool used by the sheriff for PR. And I do not see why something that voters voted for should be manipulated to go towards the sheriff. We support the measure as is and do not think that the Blue Ribbon recommendation for extra funding to go to the host team is necessary or fiscally responsible. It is not something that the voters were ever intending for these funds to be used, and I think it is quite shameful to manipulate a voter-approved measure more money to the sheriff. It is unnecessary and unconscionable, especially at a time where the sheriff is out of control and spending on the sheriff's department is out of control as well. So I urge you to please reject that amendment and go forward with this as is. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Our next participant is Yuriko Rusisparza. Please state the agenda items you'll be addressing today and whether you'll address on the general public comment. You may begin.
Hi, Madam Chair and members of the board. My name is Yuriko Rusisparza, and I'm with the City of Baldwin Park, as well as the lead applicant for the Mid-Valley Collaborative on Homelessness. And we are calling to urge the support of item number 4. The City of Baldwin Park, along with our cohort cities in the San Gabriel Valley, have stepped up in an innovative way to address homelessness locally. And we urge and thank the supervisors for all of their hard work and dedication to this effort. We would also like to support the 7 recommendations that were brought forth by the Blue Ribbon Commission and thank them for their hard work on this issue. We would like to once again call for the support of the strategies to streamline LASA and to give local cities and local jurisdictions a seat at that table. The City of Baldwin Park has specifically addressed homelessness in a very innovative way with the creation of the Esperanza Villa Tiny Home Village, which has created 25 units of bridge housing in an astonishing amount of time of just a little over 4 months. We, yes.
Excuse me. Your time has expired. Can we have the next speaker, please?
Our next participant is Victoria G. Please state the agenda item she'll be addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Victoria Gomez, and I'm working with the Young Women's Freedom Center. I will be commenting on motions 17 and 23. I first want to say thank you to Supervisors Quell and Mitchell for promoting motion 17. We are in support and believe that women need and deserve access to resources that are safe and trustworthy regarding their personal health. We believe that women should make their own decisions and have self-determination and agency for what happens to their bodies. We are in support of motion 17. We also are in support of motion 23 and thank Supervisor Quell Solis as well. I am a constituent of Supervisor Solis and I am a young Latina woman and believe that youth deserve to know their rights and have them protected. They also deserve to know how to call on their ombudsman to receive support. An important piece of this bill would also create a mechanism for surveying youth on their experience and evaluation of the Bill of Rights, which is important to continue to make sure that rights and laws are appropriate and relevant to those that they are intended for and impact. Thank you very much.
Thank you. May we have the next speaker, please?
Our next participant is Shane Hayes. Please state the agenda items you'll be addressing today and whether you'll address on general public comment. You may begin.
Hi, my name is Shane Hayes, and I am speaking in support of agenda item number 24 and on general public comment. I live 4 miles from the Santa Susana Field Lab, and I urge you to vote in support of agenda number 24. Agenda item number 24. Thank you for your continued support of the full SSFL cleanup. Thank you.
And thank you very much. Our time for public speakers has ended. With the hour of 11:08 having arrived, our 90 minutes has lapsed. We want to thank all who called in to speak. If you were unable to provide your comments, you may still submit written comments as indicated on the agenda, and we'll continue to accept all written comments that come in during the meeting, which will become part of our official record. Executive Officer, please indicate the agenda item numbers on which we will be voting today.
The following items are before you. Items 3, 5 through 10, 12 through 15, 18, 19 with Supervisor Barger voting no, 20 through 22, 24, 27 through 29, 30, with this item being removed from future agendas, 31 through 73, 74A and 74B, 77, 79 and 80, and 1D through 3D.
I'll make the motion, seconded by Supervisor Kuehl, to approve these items with the exceptions noted by the Executive Officer. Please call the roll.
Supervisor Solis.
Aye.
Supervisor Solis, aye. Supervisor Kuehl.
Aye.
Supervisor Kuehl, aye. Supervisor Hahn.
Aye.
Supervisor Hahn, aye. Supervisor Barger.
Aye.
Supervisor Barger, aye. Supervisor Mitchell.
Aye.
Supervisor Mitchell, aye. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. Colleagues, we're going to begin with set matters 1 and 2, then items 4 and 26 together.